still on the subject of Trump's indictment, making history with this wild moment. So we got to talk about it. Newt Gingrich, the former Speaker of the House, responded to the arrest and arraignment of Donald Trump in Newt Gingrich fashion, I guess you could say, dishonestly and hyperbolically and bizarrely. And I want to show you, this is from Steve Bannon's podcast, the War Room Podcast, and then we'll discuss.
It's going to be big. What advice, I want to bifurcate this for a second. What advice would you give President Trump, given our current situation and your historical perspective, and what advice would you give the Trump movement? Let's start with President Trump. What would you tell? What would be your advice strategically for President Trump?
To embed his case in all the cases around the country, and the fact that you now have a war by the government against the American people. Trump is just one
news to me.
One of many, many victims. And I think the more he focuses only on his own victimhood, the narrower and the weaker the case, but the more that he focuses on the totality of the government assault against the American people, the stronger his case becomes.
What is your advice then to the, by the way, very wise, what is your advice to his followers, the MAGA movement?
That this is a struggle for the very life of freedom, that you should take it as seriously as George Orwell warned us about when he published 1984, and you should recognize that everything we know of as freedom is under threat right now, and we have to win, much like Lincoln did in the 1860s. We have to win for freedom to survive.
Yeah, you know how fighting the Civil War was like Trump's indictment? It's so absurd. And what's scary, I told y'all before, the only way I can stay sane, and I think assist in you staying sane with this, for me doing this type of job, y'all observing American politics, all of us doing it together, the only way is to take a sort of lighthearted approach to a lot of very serious subjects. Otherwise, we're always going to be stressed. It's always going to be terrible. And so I will laugh at Newt Gingrich for saying that. But note how dangerous it is that this is the message being heard by so many people, that this is a fight to get back the freedom that we completely lost, and this is like the fight to abolish slavery. This is like fighting the Civil War. That's calling upon a historical event and moment very intentionally. He understands what he's doing here. It's provocative. It gets people energized, but it also can promote violence, of course, saying that this is similar to Abraham Lincoln's fight in leading the Union in the Civil War. It is so dangerous, and it's wrong. This is an example of actually not the instability of the United States of America or falling apart. This is an example of the system working. Now, it's horrifying and an example of how broken we are and were in American politics for a time and currently because of Trump being someone who could be successful. That shows a level of disturbing brokenness in our current moment. But the system recognizing that he violated the law and actually trying to hold him accountable for that is the system doing what it should, is the DOJ doing what it should, or investigators and prosecutors elsewhere. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter the influence you have, the wealth you have. You should be held accountable legally just like every other person. If someone else who wasn't Donald Trump, who doesn't have the influence that he does, did what he did, they would absolutely have been indicted for it. They absolutely would be facing these criminal charges and would have to defend themselves, as Trump will now have to do. And so this is a system working. It's not everything falling apart. And that's what we've talked about in the past. When people talk about what a dark day this is, it's dark in that Trump has the influence that he does and did the things he did. That's dark. Him being held accountable for that is the one light part in a very dark moment, is the correct action being taken. And it gives me some hope that even within a truly absurd moment in American politics and in this country, things feel whacked. At least accountability, maybe. We'll see how everything goes, the trial and all of that. But I'm pretty confident at this point in time that it will go the direction of accountability based on the evidence being brought forward. And if that does happen, that's a positive. a positive thing for sure. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.